Colin Kaepernick, in his quest to stay relevant, slammed Independence Day as a celebration of white supremacy. President Trump gave a powerful speech on Mount Rushmore and was, of course, attacked by the media. Plus, forget Confederate statues, the Democrats are now going after George Washington. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. Fireworks, family, food, you name it. I hope it was a good one for you. There was so much going on. If you're new to the show, thanks for tuning in. We're going to get to Colin Kaepernick, but I want to start with the 4th of July, with Independence Day, because the president gave great speeches. He gave one on July 3rd. He gave one on July 4th, talking about what Independence Day means, what it meant back then, what it means now. We shook off tyranny. We shook off oppression. We said, we are going to fight for freedom. And now, more clearly than ever, we see that those values are under attack. They are under attack every day by the left, and we have to fight back. We cannot just sit here and do nothing, otherwise the left will win. And this is what President Trump addressed, and in particular, the speech that got the most attention was on Friday, because he dared to go to Mount Rushmore, this national monument featuring 4 great American presidents. He dared to go there, hold a rally. How dare he? This is so bad. And the media is just pathetic, folks. Here's Bernie Sanders. Here's Bernie Sanders during the Democrat national campaign when he's running for president, visiting Mount Rushmore. Look how he and CNN describe it in this clip.
This is our country at its very best. What an incredible achievement.
Visiting Mount Rushmore today, Bernie Sanders taking in the majesty of the moment. This monument to 4 great American presidents.
All right, so that's pretty nice. That kind of accurately describes how people feel when they go to Mount Rushmore, when they think about these presidents, this national American monument. But that was Bernie Sanders. That was then. Now it's President Trump. Here's how the same network, CNN, describes this trip.
And Jake, kicking off the Independence Day weekend, President Trump will be at Mount Rushmore, where he'll be standing in front of a monument of 2 slave owners and on land wrestled away from Native Americans, told that be focusing on the effort to, quote, tear down our country's history.
So what? It's no longer majestic? It's no longer a source of pride? They actually attack this monument? It's absolutely unreal. They attack the monument. They attack the presidents who are pictured on the monument. It's outrageous. They want to erase history and replace it with the left. And President Trump addressed these. The speech particular on Friday was outstanding. It was awesome. He addressed what we need to do and pointed out the actions of the left. They want to replace America. They want to replace our culture, our heritage, our history, our heroes. All that they want to go and replace it with allegiance to the left. And that's what President Trump pointed out. And here's a clip.
We believe that our children should be taught to love their country, honor their history, and respect our great American flag.
So this is what children should be taught. But more and more we see that as soon as they go off to school, they're being taught something different. They are being taught to blame America, to blame our founders, to blame our heroes, and replace it with division, and blame. No more great American melting pot, but it's division. Here's more from President Trump.
We stand tall, we stand proud, and we only kneel to Almighty God.
That was just a great line. I absolutely love it, and it actually ties in to our lead story on Colin Kaepernick. We'll get to that, but here's more from the president.
Those who seek to erase our heritage want Americans to forget our pride and our great dignity so that we can no longer understand ourselves or America's destiny. In toppling the heroes of 1776, they seek to dissolve the bonds of love and loyalty that we feel for our country and that we feel for each other.
So that was such a great line, and it's so accurate, folks. For the left to succeed, They have to push away the things that bind us together. And they are. They are attacking everything. Faith, family, freedom. They will continue to attack those until there's nothing left from government. And President Trump continues to fight for these principles that should bind us together, that should bring all Americans together. And he gets attacked from the media and from the Democrats for trying to do it. So great speeches this weekend. I hope you got to see them. I hope you got to see the fireworks, the display at Mount Rushmore. It was absolutely awesome. All right, so now let's talk about Colin Kaepernick. But first, I've got a special announcement, folks. This weekend, we hit a milestone. We hit 75,000 subscribers. It's so exciting, and it's all thanks to you. And here's a special note. Most of the people who watch the show still have not subscribed. The majority of the people who watch the show have not hit the subscribe button, yet they keep coming back and watching, which I definitely appreciate. So if you could just take a second, hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell so you'll be notified, because we're making our push for 100,000 subscribers by Election Day. 100K by Election Day. We can do it with your help. All right, next, Colin Kaepernick. And it's so just exactly the opposite of what we saw from President Trump. We saw a celebration of America shaking off tyranny, fighting for freedom. And then we have Colin Kaepernick getting up on Saturday, Independence Day, 4th of July, and he tweets this. Black people have been dehumanized, brutalized, criminalized, and terrorized by America for centuries, and are expected to join your commemoration of independence while you enslaved our ancestors. We reject your celebration of white supremacy and look forward to liberation for all. Can you believe this? Are you kidding me? This is America, folks, and only in America could someone rise so high, make so much money, and yet blast the country that provided those opportunities to him. It's absolutely outrageous. I mean, this guy sees what he did, what he achieved, and yet he tries to tear it all down. He has become the new Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton, living off of this criticism that is unfounded. And my question is this: what's Nike going to do about it? Every time Colin Kaepernick has come out in the past wearing pig socks for cops or a Fidel Castro shirt or saying something else that's absolutely anti-American, he gets a new shoe deal. He gets a new endorsement contract. What's Nike going to do about this? I want to hear what they have to say, and if this fits their corporate model, their community guidelines of outreach and bringing America together. I want to know what they think. And it's all bogus anyway, folks. It's all bogus, this act. Again, he has become the new Jesse Jackson, just peddling in this stuff. Here's a tweet from Colin Kaepernick on the 4th of July, 2011, the year he was drafted. Check this out. Happy 4th of July, everyone. I hope everyone has a blessed day. So, that was fresh draftee Colin Kaepernick in 2011. How about 2012 when he's playing for the 49ers? Here's what he tweeted. Hope everyone has a blessed 4th. As for me, I'm on that workout flow first. All right, so see, happy drafted San Francisco 49er quarterback. Oh, it's great 4th of July. Benched, out of a job, disgruntled. Now he's blasting the practice, blasting the country, blasting the holiday. A little self-serving if you ask me. And here's another question. I asked Nike one. I've got a question for Brett Favre. Remember when we covered him? I wonder what he's thinking now about Colin Kaepernick, considering that just a few weeks ago he said this.
You know, I can only think of, right off the top of my head, Pat Tillman's another guy who did something, similar. And we regard him as a hero. So I assume that hero status will be stamped with Kaepernick as well.
So it's just pathetic. And again, someone in the media, someone please follow up with Brett Favre. Ask him what he thinks now. Does he think Colin Kaepernick should be in the Hall of Fame? Does he think he's a hero like Pat Tillman? I want to know. Someone please ask him. So next, I want to talk about these statues and the left and the Democrats because they're blasting Mount Rushmore. We've seen what's happening with statues and monuments being torn down. And make no mistake, folks, this has nothing to do with Confederate leaders or Confederate names. That was just the opening. That was just to see what would happen. We're going to play off of or add to the George Floyd riots. You know, they start out as peaceful protests, turned into riots and looting and vandalism. People were killed. Businesses were destroyed, completely wiped out, burned to the ground, while Democrats sat back, did nothing, even praised the activity. Now it just moved to these. We're going to target Confederate statues. Well, those are being pulled down. No one's doing anything about it. But then it didn't stop there. You've got Washington, you've got Lincoln, you've got Jefferson, you've got Grant monuments and statues being torn down. So this weekend on Sunday's CNN State of the Union, Dana Bash asked Democrat Senator Tammy Duckworth, what's the deal? Should George Washington statues be torn down or should they be defended? She couldn't even answer the question. Here's part of the clip.
There are leaders like George Washington and Thomas Jefferson who were slave owners, and some people are demanding that their monuments come down too. So in your view, where does it end? Should statues, for example, of George Washington come down?
So that's a simple enough question, right? Here's the response.
Well, let me just say that we should start off by having a national dialogue on it at some point. But right now we're in the middle of a global pandemic, and one of our countries that are opposed to us, Russia, has put a bounty on American troops' heads.
All right, so what kind of response is that? It is so lame on multiple levels. First, she's asked about George Washington. She brings up Russian bounties. I mean, this is so lame. This is the discredited story from the New York Times that leaked intelligence that has not been verified. It has not been corroborated. There is no consensus on it. There are people that believe this is going on in the intelligence community. There are people who don't. And she's saying it, and the reason she's doing it is so they can blast President Trump for inaction. Do you want a president to take action on something that's not verified? Apparently the Democrats do. They just want us to rush into Russia, do something, blast them, do something militarily to show action. Even though they don't know what the true story is, that's what the intelligence community is trying to find out. Everything has been handled properly so far, except the officer who leaked this to the New York Times. Duckworth plays off that. And then this whole idea that you can't address George Washington because there's a global pandemic. You mean you can't defend the president until COVID-19 is over? All the rioting and looting and tearing down statues, we'll just let that go until the virus has run its course. It makes absolutely no sense. Then Dana Bash, she tries again, and here's the response.
I think we should listen to everybody. I think we should listen to the argument there. But remember that the president at Mount Rushmore was standing on ground that was stolen from Native Americans who had actually been given that land during a treaty.
What? She goes and talks about the land that Mount Rushmore is on? What does that have to do with defending George Washington? Absolutely nothing. Her only response is, we should listen to everyone. You can't defend the greatest president the United States has had, our first president who helped win the war for our independence. You can't even defend him without, we should listen to everybody. It's nuts. And she's not alone, folks. We've got Baltimore Mayor Jack Young. Just this weekend, vandals came up, ripped down a statue of Christopher Columbus, and he's done nothing about it. Here's that report. Through spokesman Lester Davis, Young called the action part of a re-examination taking place nationally and globally around some of these monuments and statues that may represent different things to different people, the Baltimore Sun reported. We understand the frustrations, Davis continued. What the city wants to do is serve as a national model, particularly with how we've done with protesting. We've seen people who have taken to the streets. We've supported them. We are going to continue to support it. That's a full stop. This is lawlessness, folks. They are letting lawlessness go. And this is what President Trump spoke out about this weekend. We cannot have this discussion on what different leaders of the past meant. Fine, have that. You don't tear down statues. You don't vandalize property. You should go to jail for that. And these people are actually, these leaders are actually praising these rioters and these vandals. It's absolutely nuts. So, here's a little in your face for the media. We're going to talk about, they mentioned COVID-19, Senator Tammy Duckworth. Well, guess what? Hydroxychloroquine, the remedy, the treatment that President Trump was touting, that he was blasted, there's actually good news. There's a study that's showing that it's working. But remember, as soon as he was mentioning it, the media were all freaked out. How dare he mention this? This isn't it. We've got this thousands of dollar treatment that we want to push. We're working on a vaccine. You can't do this. It will hurt people. Even Fox News, Neil Cavuto went off on hydroxychloroquine. Remember this?
If you are in a risky population here and you are taking this as a preventative treatment to ward off the virus, or in a worst case scenario, you are dealing with the virus, and you are in this vulnerable population, it will kill you. I cannot stress enough. This will kill you.
All right, so that's Neil Cavuto, folks. Well, guess what? Like I mentioned, a new study has come out, and it shows the positive benefits of treating people with hydroxychloroquine and a combination of other drugs to reduce hospital stays and reduce the chances that you'll actually die from it. And here's that report. An anti-malarial drug that President Trump hyped as a potential therapy for the coronavirus helped some patients survive the disease while in the hospital, according to research published last week. Some of those who received hydroxychloroquine before acute symptoms began were much less likely to die from the virus, according to researchers at Henry Ford Health System in Michigan. These findings come after other studies determined that the experimental drug provided little or no benefit to people struggling with the coronavirus or COVID-19. So as far as this study is concerned, it's great news, and it definitely reinforces what the president has said. And the media blasts it because it does not fit their fear narrative, their lockdown narrative. There's no treatment. Everything's bad. Stay inside. He mentioned some positive news. He's blasted on it. And finally, some news gets out. Even CNN had to backtrack and make a new headline. Check this contrasting headlines out. This is from April 11th. President Trump is wrong in so many ways on hydroxychloroquine studies. Here are the facts. All right, so that was April 11th. Then we jump to July 2nd. Study finds hydroxychloroquine helped coronavirus patients survive better. So all in all, this study looked at 2,500 patients. A group that did not take hydroxychloroquine, 26% died from coronavirus, COVID-19. The ones that did, 13%. 26% to 13%. That was the study. That reinforces what President Trump said. There's other studies out there. The main point is that the media blasted President Trump because of what President Trump said. If he believes something, they're going to believe the opposite. Good news here. Good for President Trump. And way to bring the country together over Independence Day. That's the greatest takeaway. Forget Colin Kaepernick. Forget all of the things he says. President Trump is leading the country and helping to bring us together. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, and when you do, please hit that bell so you'll be notified, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour. Okay, friends, thanks so much for watching, and before you go, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll be notified, and here's a special video just for you so you can watch even more of the 13-Minute News Hour. And don't forget to check out GOPUSA.com for the best in conservative news and commentary. We'll see you next time.